let's talk about something that's front and center for every FCA-regulated firm: making compliance actually work. We're going to dive into a really critical area: replacement business reviews, where, the regulatory spotlight is brighter than ever. So who's helping us navigate this? Well, we're looking at a solution from Compliance Consultant. They're a specialist UK regulatory consultancy, better known by their moniker, the Compliance Doctor. These are the folks who live and breathe the real nuts and bolts of regulation, everything from governance reviews right through to getting that all-important FCA authorization. All right, let's set the scene. We're zeroing in on a particularly high-risk area, one that causes major headaches if you don't get it right. I'm talking about replacement business reviews and the pretty intense scrutiny they're under from the Financial Conduct Authority. Look, the message here couldn't be more direct, and it's a pain point so many firms will immediately recognize. The whole goal is to stop just scraping by. It's to fundamentally stop failing these crucial reviews. It's about making a strategic shift, from that reactive, constant firefighting mode to a much more proactive and confident position. And right at the heart of this whole thing is a very specific piece of FCA guidance, FG12-16. Now, this isn't some dusty, obscure rule. It's the FCA's core instruction manual for assessing suitability when you're switching products. And believe me, it is still a massive supervisory priority. Getting this wrong can have really serious consequences for your firm. So here's what's really interesting. It's often the good, well-intentioned firms that trip up here. It's not for lack of trying. So let's unpack the common struggles, see if any of these sound a bit too familiar. Does this whole chaotic scene ring a bell? You've got documentation that's completely inconsistent from one advisor to the next, which makes any kind of audit an absolute nightmare. Cost comparisons? They're all over the place, and they definitely don't clearly show fair value. You're just constantly putting out fires. That's reactive compliance. And you've got no real management information, or MI, for proper oversight. It all just snowballs into incredibly time-consuming reviews and, of course, that huge risk of FCA scrutiny. It's a really vicious cycle. And here is the real kicker. By the time you actually discover the problem, maybe during an audit, or even worse, from a customer complaint, the damage is already done. And we're not just talking about expensive fixes. We're talking about a serious hit to your reputation. And that is so much harder to recover from. But what if you could get out in front of all that? Well, this brings us to the solution. And it's all about making that shift to proactive governance with a complete toolkit designed specifically for this very challenge. The whole approach is really straightforward, broken down into a simple 3-step framework. First, you diagnose your gaps. You use a self-assessment to find out exactly where your weak spots are. Second, you standardize how you capture all your information by using consistent forms and templates. And third, you report with confidence using a dedicated dashboard that gives you the MI you need for proper board-level oversight. Now, the toolkit itself comes in 3 different packs, so you can find what fits your needs. The Essential Pack gives your advisors those core day-to-day tools. The Professional Pack, which is the most popular, adds a full implementation toolkit with quality assurance checks. And finally, there's the Governance Pack. That's the whole shebang, the complete solution for firms that need total supervisory readiness, including those board-level reports and MI dashboards for a real top-down view of compliance. Okay, so a solution is only ever as good as the expertise that's behind it, right? So let's take a look at the trust and the comprehensive coverage that's been built right into this toolkit. And check out this feedback from a head of compliance. Sarah points out a huge, tangible benefit, saving 30 minutes per case. I mean, that's a massive efficiency gain right there. But maybe even more importantly, she says the quality of the files has improved dramatically. And that's the double win every firm's looking for: being more efficient and having stronger compliance. This really just shows you the sheer depth of this thing. It's not about just ticking one box for FG12-16. Nope. It addresses the entire ecosystem of related rules, from your core COBS suitability and the consumer duties demands for fair value, all the way through to managing conflicts of interest and embedding those key principles of treating customers fairly. It's a completely holistic view of the regulatory landscape. So, we've seen the problem, we've walked through the common pain points, and we've looked at a pretty comprehensive solution. The final piece of the puzzle is about taking action and becoming truly, genuinely audit-ready. So, this is the big question, isn't it?
Are you ready to make that fundamental shift to finally move away from the stress and chaos of reactive firefighting and move towards the confidence that comes with proactive, embedded governance?
If the answer to that question is yes, then here's how you can take that next step. You can get in touch with Compliance Consultant, the Compliance Doctor, by calling the free phone number you see right there on your screen, or you can book a discovery call directly using the link. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.